Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us this evening. We are continuing our four-part series on light harvesting pigments, and we're on to the fourth and final part. If you missed the first three, be sure to tune in to learn about what light harvesting pigments are and why they're good for us, and more specifically what phycocyanin and chlorophyll are all about. They are just fantastic conversations with Dr. Bruno. And once again, we have Dr. Bruno back to help us continue this conversation. Dr. Bruno is a licensed clinical psychologist and integrative mental health specialist. He's the author of Eat Light and Feel Bright and is a pioneer in the emerging field of nutritional psychology. He's conducted research on the cognitive, emotional, and behavioral benefits of eating organic wild microalgae in children. Moreover, he's worked with hundreds of children diagnosed with ADHD using the combined AFA microalgae and Feingold dietary intervention. A scientist, a clinician, and evolutionary thinker, Dr. Bruno is passionate about the health benefits of microalgae. Dr. Bruno, thanks for sticking with us for so long and continuing this conversation with us. We're so lucky to have you here.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm enjoying our conversation as well.
Good. So we have three very important pigments present in our organic wild microalgae: phycocyanin, chlorophyll, beta carotene. And you also mentioned another violet one that we didn't really cover in depth here on one of the previous episodes, but we've already discussed chlorophyll and phycocyanin. So let's go ahead and wrap this up with beta carotene. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes beta carotene so special?
Yes. So most people know of carotene from carrots. In fact, the carrot of carotene is the first part of that word. And it gives the orange color to carrots, but it also gives the orange color to pumpkins. And there's actually an orange color to microalgae. If you were to open up a capsule of microalgae and let it settle in a tall beaker of water and stir it and shine light through it, you're going to actually find the whole rainbow of colors in there. And one of the colors is the orange carotenes. And beta carotene is one of a family of carotenes. And what's unique about the carotenes is they're fat-soluble, light-sensitive pigments that exist inside the cell membrane. And unlike the other light pigment molecules we're talking with, like phycocyanin, which is on the outer part of the membrane, typically. Now, the research on beta carotene, there's a lot of research nutritionists done on beta carotene, lots and lots of health benefits. One of the areas research scientists got really excited about was the idea that beta carotene could reduce the risk of developing cancer. And so there was a huge study that was done in Europe, I believe. It was called the CARROT study, if I'm remembering this correctly. And they gave synthetic beta carotene to smokers. And they thought, well, heck, maybe that will reduce the risk of these smokers developing cancer. But as they went on with the study, and it was a huge study of thousands of smokers, they found that there was an increase of cancer in the smokers, and they stopped the study. Now, they were using synthetic carotene. And that is the difference, because the other studies that led up to it, where they used food-based, they know if you use food-based carotene, you actually have preventative health-promoting factors. But when they use synthetic carotene, they did not find that to be the case. So it's really important to have organic, wild sources of carotene. In my mind, it's a lot more health beneficial than synthetic extracts of carotene. Now, carotene, the other big studies that have been out there talking about the benefits of carotene has been brain enhancement and brain support. So there's research showing that people who have more carotene in their blood from eating natural high carotene diets tend to have a lower risk of dementia and mild, cognitive declines with aging. So it can really be protective for brain function as well. And so eating, that orange pigment is just good for everything. And I would also heart, anything that's good for the brain is going to be good for the heart and other organ systems as well.
Awesome. So it's, you said it was fat soluble, and the other two we talked about were water soluble, correct?
Yes.
And so it lives within the cell. So is there a certain way that our bodies process that because it is fat soluble, or is that important information at all?
Well, the liver and the gallbladder are going to be involved in the processing of fats, and so that's why if people drink too much carrot juice, it can actually contribute to them becoming a little jaundiced looking if they have an excess of it, right? But we also know that these carotenoids are really protective for the liver. And so it can really help protect the liver as well. There's animal studies showing that it can protect the liver from environmental toxins. So it is processed in part by the liver as well. And just kind of a side note is that carotene tends to be a more durable light pigment molecule than chlorophyll. And so it's good to know that when you're eating microalgae, it's the chlorophyll that is the first pigment to get degraded. So you can tell the purity of the algae you're eating by the quality of the chlorophyll. It's a thing to look for in microalgae in terms of how good the processing of the microalgae is. And we see this in nature as well. So I grew up in the Midwest in Wisconsin, and the thing we see, we have 4 distinct seasons. Fall, you get the maple trees and the beautiful trees changing color. So it goes from the green trees to the orange and the reds and the yellows. Well, the orange and the yellows are where the chlorophyll is disintegrating, and the carotene is becoming apparent in the plant. So the fall colors are carotene, showing the durability of carotene in leaves of trees. And so I like to think that the carotene, again, offers another layer of protection beyond that of chlorophyll within our human body, within our human tissue as well.
Oh, that's super fascinating. I had no idea about the leaves. That's a fun fact for today. So you said something about you can tell how good the harvesting and manufacturing processes are by the color, right?
Yes.
So you're looking then, if chlorophyll is green, you're looking for a nice, rich, vibrant green in that algae. Is that correct?
That is correct, because that's the one that's hard to preserve. Carotene is actually more durable.
Awesome. Well, before we wrap up today, is there anything that you'd like to add about beta carotene?
Just eat foods that are rich in carotene, chlorophyll, phycocyanin, the wide range, the rainbow diet. And of all the foods, microalgae, the AFA algae has one of the widest range of light pigment molecules, gram per gram, of any food on the planet. It is the abundant source of these light pigment molecules, and is one of the richest sources of beta carotene. I mean, blue-green algae is, I think, the richest source of beta carotene. It is the whopper. If you look at the breakdown of nutrients, beta carotene is the big proportion of nutrient factors, factors in blue-green algae.
Awesome. So now that we're about to wrap up, I'm going to go eat more blue-green algae because I feel like I need to. But in all seriousness, Dr. Bruno, thanks so much for joining us on all, the whole series and sharing your knowledge. Now, people wanted to know more about phytopigments. That's completely what your book's about, correct?
It is. I go into a lot more depth about the healing properties of microalgae, especially the phytopigments.
Perfect. And that's Eat Light, Feel Bright. If you guys want to dive into a little more about what Dr. Bruno has to share. Dr. Bruno, thanks so much for joining us for the whole series. And I hope that we can bring you back on here maybe in a few weeks or something like that.
I love it. Thank you. I've enjoyed our conversation.
Awesome. Thank you.